so I just entered my first trade here. Today's Wednesday, and to quickly go over this one, I'm looking at this as kind of a mini sideways range, an SFP, the range low. There were some divergences, but kind of clicking through Market Cipher, I have to say the confirmations were not ideal. But I mean, on the 5-minute money flow and momentum divs, although they were slight, but just kind of clicking through on Market Cipher, it does not really seem like a lot of time frames are showing super bullish things. I see money flow coming out on a lot of time frames. Some slight divergences with momentum, but it definitely looks a little sketchy. And yeah, I mean, I may have entered a bad position here. We will see. I took a 1% risk, kind of loose stop loss, a little bit below that wick low, just in case we come back down for one more slight SFP. The first SFP was pretty shallow, so I'm hoping that we could maybe get another shallow SFP, and I actually moved my stop a little bit lower than that, probably somewhere around there. Another thing that made me want to enter this was order flow. So there was just a good amount of trades opening in this area. Overall, OI was moving to the upside. A lot of shorts started opening later on, like in this area, so that makes me think there may be stop losses above us, give us something to target. Then, as we got to move down towards the range low, we saw a decrease of OI, CVD go down, longs got stopped out. We saw longs reopen with CVD and OI getting another move to the upside. So some more longs opened. They immediately got swept as we actually got that last wick low down to take out the range low. We hadn't taken out the range low by the time those longs had opened, so they were a little early. The one issue is that we did see a lot of longs open previous, like back here. We saw a lot of longs open, and it is kind of unclear if they're still open. I guess this move to the downside probably stopped out a lot of these guys, but potentially there's still more longs open that may want to get swept out. We could continue lower, but I do think, that is a decent look for OI. That's a good bit of confluence to go along with this idea. The only thing I'm not loving is the follow through, and I mean, the Market Cipher confirmations were not ideal as well. So, I mean, we will see what happens with this one. And this idea is coming after we got a move into this area of interest. We hit that golden pocket that I was looking for, and I didn't take a trade there. I was not home at the time, and there wasn't really a good trade setup that I was willing to take on my phone, because I wouldn't have been able to, be there and watch it and manage it and look for other confirmations, look at order flow and everything else like that. So, yeah, I didn't rush into a trade there. Now I'm kind of looking to get in on, the same idea afterwards. So my general idea is still, I mean, we took out this overall range low into that area of interest, and I'm looking for a move back up to the range high, which currently is here. And if we get past that, then we go to my target of 100K. And I was stopped out. So that one is a bust. At this point, I may still be willing to re-enter this. Probably only with a 0.5% risk though, which is unfortunate. Because, I'm not willing to take another 1% SFP trade. I'm willing to lose maybe 1.5% on trying to take an SFP trade here. And then, for my next 1% trade, if we are to, bounce from here, then I'll probably wait until maybe we reclaim the range and then look for something afterwards. A lot of times you don't have to be a guy that catches the exact low. You can follow price up and look for trade setups along the way to your target. So if this is going to be a range low SFP, I know that the target is the range high. But with that being said, I am going to look for a slightly better risk reward 0.5%er, because if I can get a 4-to-1 risk reward, that's 2% back. That means I'm profitable 1% overall. So yeah, that's going to be my next trade setup if we end up bouncing from here. Let me refresh this heat map. Did we actually take out a lot of yellow down there? Nah, that was old news. So there's a bit of yellow below us. That's like 94,200. What are we at now? 94,800. I think that is accurate. Yeah. So that means that down here there appears to be a lot of liquidity, but that is pretty far away. You know, at that point, we could maybe look for an SFP at this low. That could be another trade idea that I'd look at. And we are starting to get a bounce. We did have continued divergences, even money flow and momentum on the 3-minute. 5-minute, we didn't even print a red dot yet, but momentum moved to the upside as price moved to the downside. Let's check the 2 and the 1. 2-minute money flow looks like trash, but momentum divs, same thing on the 1-minute. So yeah, I mean, this is still a risky trade, but I'm gonna enter it. 0.5% risk. I've got it loaded, and if we get a move up a little bit higher, I'm gonna enter this. We close another 5-minute candle as an SFP. We have not had a 5-minute candle close below the initial range low I was looking at. That is a good sign. Buying interest here. And let's see, our longs starting to open up. They are. Yep, I think I'm going to enter this one here pretty soon. I'm gonna be strict and I'm gonna wait until we get up to where I wanted to enter. I'm not gonna rush it to get the slightly better risk reward. We still appear to be struggling a little bit. So possibly we come back down for yet another SFP. I mean, that's always possible. Okay, not struggling so much anymore. And we get to move a little bit higher. I would like to see this 5-minute candle close blue as well. We got like 2 minutes left on that though. If we just start pumping up, I might not wait because it could close all the way up here. Decisions. Do I enter? Do I not enter? There's not like a ton of longs opening. Just a little bit. Just a little bit of longs. So that makes me think, you know, is it even worth it to come back down in SFP at this point? You know, maybe more worth it to possibly get a move up to, you know, maybe here, try and reclaim value very high, get a bunch of people to long, then take us out, right? Got to be wary of that. You know, I got to be honest, 5 minutes of farting around in this little area of this candle, it's not a good look after an SFP of this. You'd think, you know, if some big players got in here, they wouldn't be allowing it to fart around here. You'd see some pretty good follow through right off the bat. If I waited for some further confirmations, like maybe us taking out that lower high, risk reward is impacted pretty significantly. I could hope that a better entry is presented after that. At this point, I don't know if I want to try and take the early entry. It's looking a bit risky. But, I mean, this next 5-minute candle is looking a lot better. How's the 1 minute looking? Are we seeing money flow curve to the upside? Slightly. Kind of had a little bearish trigger wave, but that got invalidated quickly. We're seeing some more longs open up. Screw it. I'm going to enter a 0.5% risker. If we end up rejecting from where I just entered, if we're unable to get back above a value very low, then I may consider closing it. If we start losing a low like this, I may close it for like, you know, a 0.3% loss or something like that. And I can potentially look to add to this trade if we get a move significantly up. Maybe we reject from POC, then possibly retrace to the golden pocket or the 0.5. That would be a nice idea to add to this position. We can maybe come back to my entry. Alright, well, I'm glad that I went with the more aggressive entry on that one and didn't try to chase it upwards, because it doesn't really look like there's an opportunity to chase it upwards. We broke this lower high and pretty much immediately shot up towards the high of the range. So I have taken my TP1. I closed half the trade about here. I was, you know, not going to get front ran again. Decided to just kind of keep moving down with my limit order. Eventually it got hit, and I locked in. Let's see, this was about a 3.5 to 1, so that makes sense. I locked in about 0.75%. So a little bit less than I lost on the first trade, but I also moved my stop loss up. So my stop loss is currently right about here, and that should lock in, you know, an extra 0.25% at least. So I have successfully made back my losses. So at this point, I'll update this. And here's the deal. I do not think I'm going to look for another long trade unless we break this range high significantly. And then at that point, hopefully we get a retrace, or hopefully we form some kind of lower time frame range. Maybe there's like a very slight retrace or some kind of range that we can get into a long trade in. So I will be looking for longs if we start breaking this high, and I'll be targeting probably the value area high first because that has confluence with some important highs over here. And then I think if we break these highs, I will be targeting 100K again. So at this point, I'm probably not going to take any more profits on this until I see reason to. If we come up to this high and we start seeing bearish things, I may just close out the trade here. If we see some divergences, local divs, we start falling back as soon as we take out the high. Yeah, I may just close out the entire trade and look for a new one. Maybe I'll even take a short. But if we break this high, then yeah, I can see how price acts after that. So Bitcoin just hit 100K, and I closed out this position that I opened today. I decided to take my profits out here because, it looked like there was some selling around this high. We could keep pumping up, and that's fine by me. I'm still in some other longs, but I figured I would close this one out and take my extra 3.25% profit. And that means that for today, I'm up exactly 3%, which is pretty good. That's a good day of trading. Depending on what happens here, if we start losing 100K again, start falling back down, I may look to take some profits on some of my longs that I'm in from much lower. But, money flow on the daily looks good. We definitely have momentum div potential. We definitely have momentum and money flow div potential on the 4-hour, but the way it looks right now, it looks like it has potential to continue growing. It's moving up aggressively, so we could see this go a while more before it tops out. Maybe it still diverges, but it might take a while. So I think I'm going to wrap this video up here, and I'm going to edit it and post it tomorrow. Maybe I continue following along with my trades for the rest of the week, but now that Bitcoin is breaking its all-time high and 100K, I may take a few days, maybe even a week before we start getting good trade setups again. Depends how quickly we start ranging or retesting. We could get a quick retest for support, I guess. So thank you everybody for watching. If you enjoyed, consider leaving a like, subscribing, leaving a comment. I appreciate the support, and I will see you all in the next one.